Today, we're going over the most epic hacks in modern history. Number 1, Jonathan James. We're starting this video off with the story of the most impressive resume in hacking history. It's the year 2000. The internet is still in its Wild West phase, and a 16-year-old kid in Miami, Florida is spending his nights hunched over a keyboard. His name is Jonathan James, but online, he goes by the handle C-O-M-A-R-A-D-E. He's not your typical high schooler. While others are worried about driver's licenses, Jonathan is meticulously mapping the digital infrastructure of the United States government. His target, the Department of Defense and NASA. Now, this wasn't some clumsy phishing attempt. Jonathan was executing highly complex sniffing and backdoor attacks to steal source code and passwords. At the Department of Defense, he breached the agency's computers, installed the backdoor, and then did something truly unbelievable. He gained access to the proprietary software that controlled the International Space Station's life support systems. He didn't just break in, he was wandering around the ISS control room virtually. Then he moved on to NASA. Using their network as his playground, he downloaded more than $1.7 million worth of software, including the source code that controlled the physical environment of the station, like temperature and humidity. He single-handedly forced NASA to shut down its entire computer network for 3 weeks, an unprecedented event that cost the agency an estimated $41,000. All for what? Because, in his words, the software was poor, and I wanted to see if I could do it. 5 months after the NASA breach, the authorities finally tracked him down. He was arrested, and because he was a minor, he avoided prison time. However, he became the first juvenile to ever be convicted and incarcerated for cybercrime in the U.S., serving a 6-month sentence. The government's own investigators had to admit this kid's skill was next level. What a way to start a career. Number 2, Gary McKinnon. The turn of the millennium was a strange mix of tech boom and paranoia for the U.S. military, and to the east, a Scottish systems administrator was about to stir up a whole new kind of trouble. His name was Gary McKinnon.
McKinnon wasn't interested in money or even causing damage. He was a UFO hunter. His goal was to find evidence of free energy technology and suppressed information about unidentified flying objects that he believed the U.S. government was hiding. He spent 13 months, from 2001 to 2002, launching what the U.S. government called the biggest military computer hack of all time. Gary, operating from his girlfriend's aunt's house in London, used a simple free program to scan for unprotected Windows networks. When he found one, he would exploit a known vulnerability to get in. He successfully breached 97 computers belonging to the U.S. Army, Navy, Air Force, and NASA. He even went inside the computers of the Pentagon. While he was inside, he downloaded file lists, deleted crucial operating system files, and, most infamously, posted a notice on a U.S. Army network that read, "Your security is crap. I am SOL." He managed to briefly shut down the entire military district of Washington, D.C.'s network of over 2,000 computers. The damage was estimated to be over $700,000. What did he find? In one of NASA's computers at the Johnson Space Center, he claims to have found a high-resolution image of a large cigar-shaped object floating above the Earth, and, perhaps more tellingly, spreadsheets titled "Non-Terrestrial Officers" and a list of ship-to-ship transfers of names that weren't U.S. Navy vessels. Was it proof of an interstellar fleet, or just a highly classified internal nickname system?
Ultimately, McKinnon was tracked, and the U.S. immediately sought his extradition, pushing for up to 60 years in prison. He faced a decade-long legal battle, but thanks to the tireless efforts of his supporters and a final ruling citing his risk of suicide due to Asperger's syndrome, his extradition was blocked. He never set foot on U.S. soil as a defendant, remaining the UFO hunter who walked into the Pentagon and lived to tell the tale. Number 3, Albert Gonzalez. We generally cover stories where the motivation is pure curiosity or a political agenda, but this story from the mid-2000s undeniably belongs on this list. This is the architect of financial theft who orchestrated the largest credit card theft in history.
Albert Gonzalez was a high school dropout and a computer prodigy who grew up in Miami. Unlike McKinnon, Albert's sole focus was money. Starting in his teens, he was a prolific hacker, so good that the U.S. Secret Service actually tried to recruit him as an informant to hunt down other cybercriminals. While working for the government and earning a modest salary, Albert was simultaneously running an international cybercrime ring. He went by the handle Soup Nazi, and his specialty was a technique called SQL injection, using it to target large retailers. His method was simple but effective. He and his crew would sneak onto the retail company's network and install a sniffer program that monitored all the data passing through. Specifically, he was looking for credit and debit card information as customers made purchases. From 2005 to 2007, he targeted major companies like TJ Maxx, Barnes & Noble, OfficeMax, and Dave & Buster's. In his biggest single haul, he stole 45.7 million credit and debit card numbers from the parent company of TJ Maxx. By the time he was done, he had stolen a total of over 170 million card numbers. The money he made was astronomical. He bought expensive cars, high-rise condos, and threw lavish parties. When he was finally arrested, police found $1.1 million in cash buried in his parents' backyard, a barrel full of computers, and a diamond-encrusted ring. Gonzalez ultimately pleaded guilty to the massive data breaches and was sentenced to 20 years in federal prison. The total financial damage he inflicted on the U.S. economy is estimated to be over $200 million. The man who was once a government asset became the biggest financial liability the U.S. had ever seen. Which of these digital masterminds do you think caused the most lasting damage?